Welcome and thank you for joining me today. Our subject is simple to state but difficult to digest. Trump or no Trump, Europe's relationship with the United States will never fully recover. This is not just about the personality of one president, but about a deeper structural shift in global politics. For decades, the transatlantic bond between Washington and European capitals was seen as unshakable, the cornerstone of the liberal order that carried the West through World War II, the Cold War, and the long years after 9/11. But that bond has frayed, perhaps beyond repair. Many optimists still cling to the idea that once Trump is gone, things will return to normal. They look back fondly at the Munich Security Conference in 2021, when Joe Biden declared to a cheering crowd that America is back. For them, that moment symbolized a revival of shared values and identities. But in truth, even then, the writing was on the wall. The deeper currents of U.S. politics, its demographic changes, its economic nationalism, its growing inward focus, were already pulling America away from Europe. Biden himself may well be the last true Atlanticist president. Whoever follows him, whether Trump or another leader, will not see Europe as a partner in destiny, but more likely as a problem to manage or a customer to sell weapons and gas to. Consider the contrast between Trump's first term and today. In his first presidency, yes, he was disruptive. He mocked allies, he withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal, and he threatened tariffs. But there were still guardrails. He still approved Javelin missiles for Ukraine. He still paid lip service to NATO. In that sense, the damage was serious but manageable. Today things are different. It is one thing to walk away from a treaty, it is another to bomb Iran and green-light Israel's war against the regime. It is one thing to talk about tariffs, it is another to actually impose 15% tariffs on European goods and then grin smugly for the cameras while European leaders force an awkward smile, pretending everything is fine. By comparison, the first Trump administration almost looks like a walk in the park for Europe. And yet Europe still tries to avoid confrontation. Leaders smile beside Trump, even when they are clearly uncomfortable. They look away when Vladimir Putin struts across a red carpet in Alaska, while Trump looks on approvingly. This is not partnership, it is dependency mixed with denial. In fact, it resembles a marriage falling apart. The couple still shares a house, still goes to events together for the children's sake, but the intimacy, the trust, the love is gone. That is how Washington insiders now describe the transatlantic relationship, a separated couple still living under one roof, waiting for the right moment to part ways. Europe understands this intellectually but struggles to accept it emotionally. For decades, the United States has been the protector, the guarantor of security, the fallback option when crises erupted. Without it, Europe feels exposed, to Russia, to global markets, to the uncertainties of a shifting world. And so, instead of confronting reality, many European leaders bide their time, keep their heads down, and hope that somehow, someday, the old days will return. But hope is not a strategy, and denial is dangerous. Two broad futures lie ahead. One is an amicable divorce, where the US and Europe remain polite, cooperate where necessary, but stop pretending to be a family. They become neighbors, friendly at times, competitive at others, but fundamentally independent. The other future is darker. Tariffs escalate into full-blown trade wars, NATO becomes a hollow shell, and Europe tries, fitfully, to build its own defense identity while America turns its gaze toward Asia and its own domestic battles. Which path we take depends partly on Trump, but just as much on how Europe chooses to react. The world we are entering is not the one of the Cold War, nor the one of the early 2000s. Power is dispersing, China is rising, Russia is disruptive, the global South is demanding a bigger voice. Against this backdrop, the transatlantic alliance looks less like a rock and more like sand slipping through our fingers. Trump is the symbol, the loud and brash symptom of these changes. But he is not the disease. The real illness is the divergence of interests and identities between the United States and Europe. So whether Trump stays or goes, the truth is the same. The old transatlantic marriage is over. The only real question is whether the breakup will be bitter or whether it can be managed with civility, respect, and a sense of responsibility for the global order that has depended on this partnership for so long. The next time you hear someone say that the storm will pass after Trump, remember, this is not about Trump. This is about history. This is about change, and it is about a relationship that has run its course. Thank you for listening.